Opinions expressed in the following paid program do not necessarily represent.
Do you have any of that basketball audio?
CBS Radio,
Yeah, I have to pull it up.
Sponsors.
Hi, this is Randy Etzel, head football coach at the University of Maryland. You're listening to Terp
This is Minor Consulting Terp Talk. 60 minutes of Maryland Terrapins news and commentary, and your phone calls at 866-950-5225. Now from the CBS Radio studios in Baltimore, here are the hosts of Terp Talk, Bruce Posner and Wayne Viner.
For those legions of fans out there of Wayne Viner and Mason, they're back today.
We're back. A 1 week drop in. We are back.
They're back, and then they're gone again for 2 weeks.
Well, I got to go to Penn State and watch Maryland take it to those Nittany Lions. But boy, today it's big football, man. The day that Maryland would be at Wisconsin, it seemed like a dream.
You know, this is one of those days for Maryland, and I don't know if today will be the day that they pull the upset, but this is one of those days where if you can pull off a win, it would be enormous. And somewhere along the line, they get so many shots. Are you all right?
I'm going to make it through here. I'm going to have to just signal Darian for the cough button. Coming off that sinus infection, I was questionable today. I talked to Mel Kiper. He thought I'd be in here, so here
I'm
I
going
am.
to have to check you for concussion symptoms after this show for the Maven. I'm going to have to veto you from the Maven with that cough. Listen, Wayne, this is one of those games that Maryland has never had before. In other words, when you're in the ACC and you're playing Wake Forest and you're playing the mediocrity that's there, and maybe not mediocrity in ability, but mediocrity in reputation, and you win the game, it doesn't mean that much. It would be like beating Clemson on the road. That was okay. That was a good win, and they did it about twice. But here, you've got Wisconsin on the road. You got Penn State on the road. Then you got Michigan State at home. So you've got 3 games that if you could pull off one win, then you are beginning to legitimize yourself as a football program.
And I think at the end of that run, you got Michigan. So I might throw that in, but they're a little down.
Michigan's a little down, but to go to the big house and win. But on the other hand, you play those 4 games, and you got to win one of them. Okay? You have to. You can't go 0-4 in those games and say, well, this has been a great season. You need to win one of those games. And if you win 2, they'll erect a statue of Mr. Etzel, all right? Right there in front of Gossett. But, and I'm not saying they can't. I certainly think, I can imagine you're going against the best rushing offense in the country today, and the Maryland's defense against that hasn't been that great. You know what they're going to do, though. There's no secret. You know, Melvin Gordon's going to run it down your throat. You know, it's not any special holes. There are no secrets, and Joel Stave can't throw with the darn. So, you know, you can stack the box, but it just doesn't matter with Melvin Gordon.
Well, you got Melvin Gordon is, about 175 a game. And the bigger stat is every time he touches it, they average about 8 yards a carry. That's amazing stuff. The backup's not bad. A guy named Corey Clement.
Obviously, this is a reflection of the line, too. Let's not just give him credit.
And they hold on the ball for 36 minutes a game. Mason was pointing out before we got cranked up here, who are the powerhouses that they've played so far? Illinois. You said Western Illinois.
South Florida.
Bowling Green. So we'll see. This is one of the first big games. The only other big games of note, they played LSU, almost beat them in a neutral site game to open the season. And they played at Northwestern, their only real road game, and Wisconsin loses there. So I don't think this is the Wisconsin that won the Big Ten for 3 years in a row.
No, it's not. And it's also not the Maryland team that struggled in the past few years. It's a much better team. They're not going to stop Maryland's offense. I'll tell you right now, no team has, including Ohio State. Maryland's going to score points. And it's a fact, and it's been speed against power. And speed versus power worked in 2 out of the 3 ACC games until they met the real power.
Well, I think Ohio State might be better. Take a look from the Virginia Tech side of things. Virginia Tech opens with this big win at Ohio State, and you think Virginia Tech's back on the road to being a powerhouse, and boy, that game looks like a fluke in the rearview mirror.
Ohio State's got to be kicking themselves in the butt, all right, because Virginia, they lost 30-6 at home.
Oh yeah, that's the first sellout Virginia Tech has had in over a year, and they lose their 4-4 now.
They're mediocre.
Yeah.
But listen, how good did it make you feel to see Beamer get beat like that? I'm not a Frank Beamer fan. Ever since he kicked the field goal when they were up 35-0 at the end of the half.
Yeah.
Of course, John Harbaugh duplicated it, but tried to kick a field goal. But anyway, listen, here's the bottom line. A win today would be a monster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Maryland would probably get ranked.
Yeah, Maryland has votes this week.
Yeah, Maryland would probably get ranked. They'd be 6-2. They'd be bowl eligible and not having that hang over their head for the next few weeks.
Yeah. See, that was worth coming in the studio right there. Call for disease or not, is to hear you say bowl eligible.
Well, that's what it is. You win today. It was a great win last week. You know,
oh yeah.
Even though you were under quarantine, it was a great win, and it was a dominating win. It was clearly a dominating win, and they were down 14-0, and they scored 38.
38-7 in that run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they got wound up with
Well, then
31. But
well,
you're right. They got the final 10.
right.
Okay. 30. You're right. 38-7.
Right.
Now that's not domination.
Well, I don't know if you can cut a game up like that in real life, but for about 40 minutes in the middle of that game, Maryland just walked all over Iowa. And I'm not sure what Iowa was thinking, because from my point of view, they put in Weissman at tailback. It seemed like every time they turned the ball and handed to Weissman behind that jumbo offensive line, the guy was getting 5 yards a carry. The only thing was I wouldn't leave him out there. They rotated the tailbacks, and when Iowa tried to go with their speed look, Maryland's speed and skill was better than Iowa's speed and skill, and that's where Maryland just started to run away from.
Well, they did. It was a great win. And can the Badgers slow down Stephon?
Probably not. The question is that going to be enough? I was talking to Mason on the way over, thinking if Maryland comes out, scores in 30 seconds, that might be something that you don't want to do, because Wisconsin's whole thing is to take the ball and grind your defense down.
Let me tell you something. If they come out and score 30 seconds, everybody will be very happy. And I'll tell you what else. You know me, I have this pet thing about deferring. All right?
Deferring the kickoffs.
Right. Maryland wins that toss. Take the damn ball today. I'm telling you. Don't let them get their mojo working before you get the ball. Because, what are the odds the first time they get the ball they're going to score? Wisconsin.
Lately, I'd say in the 90s.
Right.
90%.
I mean, the way this guy Gordon runs, all right, and he's not unstoppable.
But I thought that about Indiana. All we heard was how great Indiana's tailbacks were before we went.
Yeah, but this is the truth. This is the real thing.
But the guy from Indiana ran for hundreds of yards against
Missouri.
So Maryland, using the speed and angle thing, manages, as they call it, to scrape the linebackers off, which is the linebackers don't attack at first. They got a hand on the back of the defensive lineman. As soon as they find the play, they bounce off of their own guy and make a cut like they're a running back and attack. And they're fast enough. Gorey, Ferrand are really good at this. They got Abner Logan back there, and that's why you see Maryland linebackers against the Big Ten getting 15-plus tackles a game.
Well, they're also getting through line of scrimmage, too.
Yeah, but the whole point of what Maryland's trying to do is to free up that linebacker to make a stop. Ferrand's signature game was against Indiana, where statistically he really shut down that running game. I don't know if he can do it against Wisconsin, but Brian Stewart has a way of getting his linebackers to attack that cuts down the opponent's running game. So we'll see if it works today. And if it doesn't, well, everybody knows Wisconsin leads the nation in rushing at 343 yards a game, and Maryland right now walking in there is like 100, ranked 100 or 100. Let me see my notes here. Maryland ranked 102nd in rushing defense. giving up 198 yards a game.
I'm going to tell you what's a scary stat. You want to hear a scary stat? Melvin Gordon, not the yardage, 13 touchdowns. Can you imagine that? 13 touchdowns in 6 games.
Jeez. I thought you were going to pull up one of your, what I think more favorite stats is the team that has the most points at the end of the game wins 99% of the time.
13 stats.
13 touchdowns.
13 touchdowns. Crazy.
But this is where their schedule picks up for Wisconsin. They focus on the second half of the season. They haven't played the strongest schedule in America. And let's see if Maryland can get it done.
Why is their stadium, Blake, called Camp Randall? Do you know? I mean, did it used to be an Army base or something?
Is it Walter Camp? I don't
No.
know. Randall.
Maybe. No, Camp Randall.
I don't know. It's been
Check that, Mason.
been called Camp Randall for a long time. It is the 4th oldest venue in college football. Macy, remember who's got the oldest stadium?
Georgia Tech.
That is correct, young man. I don't know who's 2 and 3, but Camp Randall's been there a long time.
Wow. Tanner McCoy seems to be a better thrower, but they started Stave.
Yeah,
You know who's Joel? What's his significance in Maryland folklore? Joel Stave. Do you know?
this is a question to Mason, who's still
No, it's a question to you.
me. Oh, he's the guy. It's the Danny O'Brien saga. They bring in Danny O'Brien.
Right. He bumped Danny O'Brien. To the
Right,
bench.
true freshman, puts him on the bench. Now Stave hurt his shoulder in the, fill in the name of the bowl here, Outback Bowl. Had a problem with his shoulder. He decides not to have surgery, figuring he can rehab it. Even into August, the reason he didn't play the first 5 games is that the shoulder, even though they said there's nothing wrong with it, just isn't right. His quote was, "It just doesn't feel right. I can't throw the ball like I used to." They don't know what's wrong with it. So he comes in, was it last week, and completes 7 passes. Not really a house of fire there, but he's still not right. He can't run like Connor McElvoy, but that's his name. Tanner McElvoy. Yeah,
You're rusty, boy.
I'm out of it still.
All right. Listen, going to be a super game today. It's tremendous stakes on the line for Maryland. I believe they got to get into the game, Wayne. They're not going to spot this team 14-0 and come back. They've got to get into the game. Go ahead, Mason.
At Camp Randall, there were 9,000 troops.
Aha, I was right.
Early 1900s.
Okay. All right. That was just a guess. So it was Army base.
And Bruce gets the golf clap. He is correct again.
Yes. Speaking of golf clap, did you hear that's what happened with Ted Bishop, the president of the PGA?
What did he call?
This is what happened. Ian Poulter wrote a book. All right, I forgot what it's called. It just came out. And in the book, he criticizes Tom Watson and Nick Faldo. And he's pretty rough on Watson, saying that it was not playing. Mickelson was, first of all, I don't know why Poulter would even get involved in criticizing Tom Watson, but he did. And the president of the PGA called Poulter, he's acting like a little girl. Gone. Acting like a little girl.
Got the guy fired.
Yeah.
It was one tweet, I believe.
Right. Got acting like a little girl or whining or whatever. And he's gone. And you just, like when we're on the air, you have to watch every word you say when you're in the public eye.
Yeah, but you're better at that than I am.
Well, you have to, and that comes with experience. But you have to think before you talk. But it's amazing that would get him fired, but it did. And I don't mean it happened quick.
Yeah.
It was like it spread on social media like it was no tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you think that's the only thing the guy did, or do you think somebody was waiting to knock him off?
Well, his term was over November 22nd.
Right. So
So I mean, what
would they could have suspended him for 6 weeks?
I don't know what what in the world's really the difference, but and what Poulter, what a jerk! I mean, just why are you going there? Mickelson did enough, but what's Poulter? He's on the other team.
Yeah, I guess some of those guys.
I don't know. Poulter is like Poulter is a winner. He's a Ryder Cup winner, and
Well, he's a big name, and he's certainly He's well known, even if you're just on the periphery of golf.
Like you.
Yes.
Like you. All right. So the other day, we'll get into this in the next segment. The other day, we had our basketball media day, and Turgeon spoke to the press. Turgeon spoke about Melo Trimble, and we got some audio from that. We'll play when we get back. Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
Our first preseason basketball game is next Saturday night. Basketball
No, it
is
was
here.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, 2 o'clock.
They're playing up against a Penn State game. There you go. Wow. I had it down as 8 o'clock. I was hoping to do the daily double. I'll have to go check that.
Yeah. Maybe you're right, but I don't think so. I remember seeing 2 o'clock, but maybe they changed it, and that would be the smart thing to do. Certainly, why not for an exhibition game? I doubt that that's a tremendous demand on TV.
And before we go into the break, the Maryland Penn State game time is going to be announced on Monday.
It's crazy. That's why I'm hesitating about going.
Right.
If it's a night game, I'm not going.
Well, the options are the 12 or the 3:30 slot. The night game is not an option now.
Okay. Why?
Because the Big Ten already made their commitments to ESPN and the Big Ten Network for the 8 o'clock starts. So
Which game is that?
I don't actually know who they picked. It's just
Mason?
not open.
The time of that game is 2 o'clock.
I was right.
Again. Look at that.
Interesting. All right. New sponsor today. An old sponsor, but he's back. All right. And that's Chesapeake Urology. Sandy Siegel does just an amazing job with Dr. Siegel does a tremendous job with the prostate cancer walk. But he is Mr. Urology in this state. I can't imagine. I think they have 35, 40 offices. That's how many. And he really dominates it, and they're just fantastic people. But Wayne, I am here with a message from Chesapeake Urology. Have you been debating getting a vasectomy? Few interesting facts.
And we'll talk about that after the break, I'm sure.
The average ejaculation contains anywhere between 50 million and 3 million sperm. Each one a model of persistence. It will do anything to reach their goal. The only 100% way to prevent them from getting to their destination is getting rid of the highway that takes them there. That's what a vasectomy does, and no one is more expert at performing them than the doctors at Chesapeake Urology, who do more than 1,500 every year. Most men who have the procedure drive home themselves the same day, and your artillery will work exactly the same. There just won't be any live shells. How's this for maybe one of the best ads ever written? So call the doctors at Chesapeake Urology, 877-422-8237. That's 877-422-8237. And we welcome back Chesapeake Urology on all of my TerpTalk shows. This is Bruce Posner. We'll be back in a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio, 1580. Is that a great out of the way?
850-5225. Once again, Bruce Posner and Wayne Piner.
Well, we have one sponsor who's a happy camper this week, and that, of course, is Mr. Meyer from Meyer Consulting, because West Virginia defeated Baylor.
Right. Ed Kelly, who's a huge West Virginia fan, was happily tweeting, "Take me home, country roads," all afternoon on Saturday, and I'm impressed. West Virginia, boy, they're as good as they looked when they played Maryland.
You know, it's funny. They got a great quarterback with Trickett, right?
Yes.
And a great quarterback, and you combine that with pretty good players, takes you a long way.
Well, that receiver, Mr. White, I believe he wears number 11, had a highlight reel catch. And looks like Dana Holgerson, not only did he save his job and quiet the rumors, but they look like a legit top 25 team. So I'm happy to see that. But, Mark Consulting Engineer, even though they root for West Virginia, they built a lot of parking decks for the University of Maryland.
Yeah, Meyer Consulting Engineer is a professional organization specializing in structural engineering, parking consultation, construction material testing, and inspection of related professional services in the construction industry. In the past 5 years, their organization has completed over 1,000 commissions across the U.S., the Pacific Rim, and the Commonwealth of Independent States.
And there's going to be a lot of rebuilding up there once this border skirmish is over between Russia and the Ukraine.
Without question. Meyer Consulting Engineers offers a proven superior record for on-time performance and quality and cost-effective engineering design. Call them at 301-738-5690. That's Ed Kelly and Meyer Consulting Engineering Corporation. Wayne, talk about Sasho for a second here.
Oh, the comeback of the soccer team.
Comeback of the soccer team, and now all of a sudden the field hockey team is sticking it to the Big Ten. You know, scored 8 goals at Indiana. That team has really caught on. Not that we got a little doubt early in the year with those early losses, but they're now number 2 in the nation, and the only team to beat them, of course, is number 1, and that's North Carolina. But the soccer team, to go to Indiana and win at Bloomington, and now it just seems like their mojo's working. And ever since that loss, where was the loss? In Northwestern?
Yeah, they lost by the lake at Northwestern.
Right, a very controversial goal where Sasho got hit for a $10,000 fine.
Would have made Earl Weaver proud.
I wonder if he had to pay that.
Oh, probably. I would think not.
I don't know. I don't know.
Around Maryland, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. But I know one thing, he was upset that day. I saw the argument. I saw him. He went nuts. And you couldn't tell from the video, but it was awful close. But anyway, they're back in the picture. I think their resume is strong enough to make the tournament, a couple more wins. And, once you're in the tournament, anything goes. Anything goes.
So the Santa Clara game, was that this past week?
That's tonight at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock tonight.
So it's nice to see some of these California teams. For a long time, Maryland used to go out early in the year and play at Cal.
Oh, they've been coming back.
And now it's nice to see them coming back.
Right? It works both ways. It really does. It's home and home. There's no getting the edge on somebody.
So do you have any time to stop by soccer after your lacrosse thing?
No, I got a good friend of mine is it's his 40th anniversary tonight.
Yeah.
Or 30th, I don't even know.
Right. So you said there's a big lacrosse event.
Yeah, big lacrosse event today, and that is the alumni versus the current team. Now, let me tell you something. I'll get you up to date real quick for the legions of lacrosse followers out there. The team looks great from what I hear. They had a scrimmage against Bucknell, and both the Bucknell people and the Maryland people were like absolutely knocked over by how well Maryland's playing. Tillman's using 3 or 4 lines that he's never done before. I think part of it is to maybe get everybody a little bit more into things because of some of the defections. I'm not positive. It's just a guess. Or it also could be because he has the talent and he wants to keep guys fresh. But it's a great game today when you look at the team that's playing for the alumni. You got Brian Farrell, Brian Phipps, Nico's coming back. At center, you're going to have Chanachuk. One of the Holmes guys is facing. I mean, This is an all-star professional team right now that's coming back.
So who gets the start and goal for Maryland?
Kyle Bernard, all right? But is it Danny Morris? Yeah, Danny Morris, the fresh.
Is the guy from Texas?
Right, the redshirt freshman's getting some run too. I doubt, just unless Morris has to really outplay him, I think, to get the starting 9. Because I think Bernard's a senior, and the position's Morris's next year. But you know what? Tillman plays the guys who play. He doesn't, freshman, whatever. But in the goal, this guy Bernard, he's very good. You remember that in the few times he came in last year, he played very, very well.
So I guess the Terps with Chuck moving on, looking for guys like Colin Heacock to move up and Rotans and
yeah, of course.
Guys.
You got to move up. Chuck really, for a couple of years, for his last 3 years, he was that fulcrum where you just throw him out there and good things are going to happen.
Right. As far as the lacrosse rolling lines like it's a hockey game, and maybe that'll help out because some of the guys got relegated to being in the man advantage situation. That's the only time they got on the field.
Well, normally there's a special man advantage team, all right? And it could be some of the starters too. But I think, again, we go back, how do you analyze or criticize or constructively criticize a team that's been to 3 Final Fours out of 4 under Tillman? The only thing you could say is, have they been running out of gas at the end of the year? Have they been coming out flat because maybe they're tired? Maybe, Tillman's a hard worker. He works them hard. Maybe he needs to expand. That's a great question for him. Maybe he needs to expand that playable roster to win.
Well, coming out flat, having gone to the Notre Dame game, it was at M&T.
Right.
Yeah, they came out a little flat. They got beat by somebody had a Kavanaugh had a out of this world performance. So maybe next year, one of these years has to be our year. Yeah, it's hard. You end up being a nitpicker to criticize a team that keeps going to the Final Four, but that's what sports radio is all about.
Yeah, well, I'm not criticizing, but I mean, nobody feels the pain of not winning the title like Tillman. I mean, there's nobody.
Well, if there's anybody close to not who feels the pain on lacrosse, it's you.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's not just, it's every Maryland lacrosse fan out there. That's the topic. You got to get to the Final Four, but the defense is great, and that's the key thing.
Right.
Casey Akita, Dunn, Matt Pons.
Is Goran Murray moved on, or is he still?
No, Goran Murray's still there. I mean, and if you get strong goalie play, which I think you're going to get, I don't know. I'm very optimistic, but we'll save that for the spring. All right, so the other day we had the introduction of the basketball situation and media day, and Turgeon was at his best. So let's hear first what he had to say about his main guy, his go-to guy, Des Wells.
Better player out in America on the break than Des. He's the best. There's probably not a better competitor than Des in college basketball. So he's got those two things going for him. So just slowing down and making better decisions for him is what we continue to work on. Just assist turnover ratio. He went from over 100 turnovers to around 70, 60 some. My 60s, I showed him the number exactly right now. But hopefully get that down a little bit more. So I expect Des to have an outstanding year.
And then, of course, Turgeon talked about recruiting in the Big Ten.
Carolina and Atlanta and Florida and different places that watch the ACC so we can still get involved because they've watched our program over the years. Illinois, Michigan, those areas, it might take some time. Maybe after the season, young kid in Illinois is watching us play, really likes what we do. So I think doors will open in that area. It hasn't been easy. We try to go that direction in recruiting. It hasn't been easy.
So here we go, Wayne. Right now, how do you feel about the basketball team?
Better than I did a couple of weeks ago. You could get to 19 or 20 wins. A little soft in the middle. Excited about the guard play. A little worried that injuries keep creeping in. Smotrich is out for 6 weeks. But still, I come back to a little soft in the middle. What do you think?
I'm worried. The Smotrich injury hit me hard. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Smotrich was fantastic last year, but he was a serviceable guy who gave you depth Yeah, maybe he shot a little bit too much, but you got to have guys on the court who can play. And there's no question that he can play.
Can play, led the team in rebounds.
Right. He can play. He's a tough kid. He's a streaky shooter. When his streaks come through, they win. And I just think, in my humble opinion, that that's a big loss. Because now you not only have to have tremendous play from the guard, Melo Trimble, you've got to get – here's the key guy now, it's DeMonte Dodd. If this guy doesn't step up, what's going to happen in the middle?
I guess Stokowski, they call him Seco, is going to have to play.
Checo's
going to have to play the whole.
How can he? I mean, he's not. I mean, I'm sure he's. They like the way he plays. Turgeon told me that he shows a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, but he's still a little rusty. And you're going to throw this guy in, opening day at Michigan State. I mean that.
Well, he'll be. I would think Smotrich says it's 6 weeks, so 6 weeks from
a week ago.
So you'll be back for Michigan State, but you'll be back for a week or so. We've been sort of kidding around, although now it might become serious, that the key to making this go is going to end up being Jonathan Graham. If he could give you serviceable minutes as a power forward and can hold up a little bit in the middle, it works. If he can't, then I'm afraid we're going to lose a couple of these preseason or the early season games that we would have been favored in.
Well, at College Park, what they should do is they should put some softening agents on the floor around the basket. Because Jonathan Graham is one of the greatest hustlers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's all over, It's so amazing about him, too. If he could score, this guy would be, I can't even think about how good he would be.
Well, he has the defensive characteristics you want in a stopper. He just can't score. He gets rebounds. He hustles. He blocks shots.
He does everything but score.
But
right. Everything but score. And what the heck? He's a great kid. That's the most important thing. And he's been, it would have been nice if he was at Maryland all his years. He sure wanted to be there. But Turgeon brought him here, and I thought it was a good move. And now, he's a senior. He's been around. Let's see what he can do. I have pretty good faith in him.
I do too. He's going to have to play a little bit. I heard these guards that we counted so much on, and you've said from the get-go, if this guy can be another Steve Blake, which is walk on the court as a freshman, and be good, play significant minutes, take care of the ball, and be good, we got a shot. If he cannot, we're talking about Melo Trimble, then we got a problem. What's your first take?
Well, my first take on it is listening to Turgeon, and I asked him that question when I had that symposium over at Westminster Hall. And Turgeon said that there's no question he can run the point. There's no question he can play right away. And that made me feel better. And he's a real team guy. The chemistry on the team has been excellent. And so all that lends itself, like you said, you feel a little bit better. But Wayne, can they come up with 10 wins in the Big Ten? All right.
They catch a couple breaks where they play the powers only once, a couple times through, so that gives
the Big Ten gave us a great schedule, by the way. Well, it's not an easy schedule, but more important, everybody comes in.
Yeah,
which
is
is
a good home schedule.
It's a great home schedule, and I can't wait for Michigan comes in. We'll get some great time with Dane Fife, their assistant coach, Michigan State rather, and. You remember Dane Fife? He was the MVP on the other side in the championship game, right? That they lost, but Indiana lost.
Indiana's coming in. You get everybody coming here. And the other positive note is Maryland was after point guard named Jalen.
They got him,
Brantley. They got him, and Diamond Stone shows up at Midnight Madness last
Diamond
week.
Stone, not gonna happen. That's the word. He's going to UConn from what I hear.
Oh, no.
I had Dave LaMonaco on my show, and he said he doesn't have much hope. So, and you kind of knew that when Turgeon walked out with Jalen Brantley. All right, so that says it all. And he wanted Jalen Brantley. He's a real point guard.
Yeah.
We finally got a real point guard coming.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. All right, let's head out to break number 2. This is Bruce Posner. You're along with Wade. You're listening to the Bonner Consulting Terp Talk. Wade, are you man enough to give us a little after the break? All right, we'll hear about Bonner Consulting after the break. We'll be back in a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1580.
Kelly Exchange is your conversation at 866-950-5225. Once again, Bruce Posner and Wade Blair.
Welcome back here to segment 3, our final segment here, and Wayne's final segment today.
Yes, I'm back on the disabled list.
In fact, I put him on the unable to perform list.
Coach's decision.
Coaches did not finish or did not play.
Right. But that doesn't mean that all of you should not turn over to 1300 CBS Sports Radio and catch a sports babe at 9 o'clock. And if you can't get it on your radio, go to the TerpTalk page and click on Listen Live to catch Bruce Posner at 9 o'clock this morning.
Listen, did you hear about Peyton Manning on the scoreboard operator?
No, I didn't, but I love that little catch they had where they wouldn't give him the ball after his record.
Listen, Peyton said after the game, imagine this team is playing unbelievable. He had to find something to complain about. I got a problem with our scoreboard operator. I've got to have a talk with him. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's playing music and showing players dancing, getting the crowd fired up, and we have the ball. I don't think we should be doing that. In other words, he had to call a timeout because he couldn't hear anything
At a home game.
at a home game.
Yeah.
Yes, Mason.
Well, hold on. Now,
So there's a fake Peyton Manning on Twitter that compares everything. Says worse than my scoreboard operator.
Okay.
What's the worst thing could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually agree with that because we went to a high school football game for a little bit last night, and the opposing band is playing while we're trying to run plays. I didn't know you could even do that. I know in the NFL, if it was the other team, they probably would have fined the scoreboard operator for playing music while the opponent had the ball.
Wayne, back to the Big Ten. Do you think a Big Ten team will make it to the Final Four of the football new championship?
No. And if I'm wrong, I think the answer is going to be Ohio State.
When does Ohio State play Michigan State?
And Mason scrambles off to.
All right, Ohio State plays Michigan State. So there's going to be one winner out of that, right?
Right.
And they're going to be the shot for the Big Ten to get in.
And that'll be the East champion along in the Maryland division.
And then the East champion, believe it or not, might have to play Wisconsin or Nebraska.
Well, right now, the leader over there, I believe, is Minnesota.
Well, or Minnesota, and that's not going to be a game. So say Ohio State runs the table.
Okay. And
Right.
you could, yeah, I think that's a legit.
Now, you think that Ohio State should not be in that tournament, and yet you will have three possible Southeast teams. Go ahead, Mace.
November 8th.
November 8th. All right, what's that, a Friday or Saturday? That's a
It's
Saturday.
Saturday.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to get three SEC teams? Probably not.
Well, that's what it would be today.
Yeah, but they all got to play each other, and they have a championship too. So I can't believe they're all going to roll. It's impossible for them all to roll undefeated. The big game of the year is either going to be Alabama-Auburn, if it's one-loss Alabama, still in it, and one-loss Auburn right now. Or it's going to be your undefeateds of Mississippi State and Mississippi in the Egg Bowl. And
Well, Mississippi State right now is number one in the nation.
Yeah.
So we got to say they're in. And you got to say Florida State's in it because they don't play anybody the rest of the year.
Right.
So they're going to be undefeated. So
That's two of. Now, does Oregon get back in? Is somebody from the
what
West
about
get back in?
Mississippi?
If they would they'd be a one-loss team because they got to play Mississippi State. So I don't know. A late loss tends to hurt a lot more than an early loss. And in this voting stuff, I don't know if these voters are going to continue that trend. So if you lose a game in September, you're a lot better off than losing the game on November 25th.
And Alabama, who probably is the best team in the country.
Well, they're going to if they win the SEC championship, they're going to get it.
The winner of the SEC championship is in.
Right. So
If that happens and Mississippi State's a one-loss team,
you take them both.
they're in.
Right. That's two. Florida State.
It's three. And then I guess you go to the Big Ten or the Pac-10. The Pac-10 champion or the Big Ten champion. You know, there's a strong argument. And here we go. You move this tournament to 8 teams, and whoever wins those titles are in. Forget the rest of it.
Right.
You know, you got the ACC champ, the Big Ten champ, the Big 12 champ.
You end up with like 5 champs and 3 at large.
Right, 5 champs and 3 at large is right.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, how about Notre Dame?
If they keep winning, boy, they don't have an easy schedule. If they keep winning, they're going to be nosing in at the very end.
I mean, they should have won that game against Florida. Was that a great game or what?
Yeah, that's a classic game, and even it would become more classic if that touchdown had counted.
Yeah,
That really was a penalty.
that's what they say.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
yeah, and according to
All those guys had to do, and since we're on TV, we're being streamed, is go like this: you block and then you raise your hands.
Right.
You brush off.
right, you just run into the guy. You just
Right.
bump them off.
But these guys, it was like
Locked in. And once they locked in, much like holding an offensive lineman, once they see you locked in.
and it wasn't
it's
so
easy
bad that one of them did it. 2 of them did it.
call. And according to Chip Kelly, they don't teach that. So I don't know. I don't know how they got that idea to hold on to those guys so long.
It just happened. Steve Nash is out for the year for the Lakers. Now, why do I bring this up? Some rumors about Gravis going to the Lakers.
I did not know that, but you're the world's #1 Gravis
Guess
fan.
what I got coming? I got a Gravis jersey coming from Toronto.
Cool. Well, we're gonna have to hang that right up there.
I'm not gonna hang it. I'm gonna wear it. Oh, that's right. We're on the screen.
Right.
Yeah, he would be a fit there, but Nash, he's done. I mean, this will be what, 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
And the year before, I think he missed half the season.
He's not really been that. That was a dream team move that lasted, Mr. NBA over here. How long that dream team move for the Lakers last? 6 weeks?
It never happened.
It was probably less than 6 weeks.
We refer to Darian as the running rebel.
Yeah, and he's wearing. Hey, can you just lean in a little bit there?
Show everybody in TV land your running rebel shirt.
There you go.
Hey, is that Darian? Is that the colors of is brown the color?
No, I just bought this. Mason just asked me the same question. I just bought this at the time. I bought this in college, believe it or not. So,
but it's red, isn't it?
Yes, it's red. It's scarlet, gray, and red. That's our colors.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, what about all this junk? I'm talking about some other topics today. All this stuff with Seattle. Explain to me why, when you win the Super Bowl, it creates turmoil on your team. I hear the locker room is divided. There's the Russell Wilson side and the Percy Harvin side, who's now gone. And I mean, it's almost unbelievable. What could somebody possibly not like about Russell Wilson? He's a great guy. He's a great quarterback. Yeah. I don't understand it.
This gets in that gray area of culture and money. But I might even throw this over to Darian. I'm quoting somebody else here, which is I heard Michael Wilbon say that the contract and the way that he interacts with the management and some of these guys ticked off, whereas Richard Sherman goes a different way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand what you're kind of saying. I mean, I know this is like a touchy subject, but, the words that were thrown around that he's not black enough, and obviously, most of the NFL is predominantly African-American. He is mixed. So, he's from white and black descent. But I guess apparently a lot of the guys say he's just not one of the guys. He doesn't do, I guess, a lot of the stuff that the teammates do. Like you say, he's kind of off on his own. But at the end of the day, look, I mean, when I hear that stuff, it kind of irks me and makes me a little upset because I just feel like you should be judged on what you do on the field. Like, who cares of your race or who you hang out with? I mean, let's look back at Kobe Bryant when he first came to the league. Obviously, you heard that he kind of didn't really talk to the team, go out with the team.
Well, he was a kid, though.
He was a kid, too. But, again, his work ethic. I mean, the guy was incredible on the court. He's one of the top 5 players of all time.
Speaks 5 languages.
Exactly. Was, 1,400 on the SAT?
Yeah, I mean, he was off the chart.
He was supposed to go to Duke. He said, if he would have went to college, he went to Duke. And
thank heavens he didn't go to Duke.
Yeah, I know.
There would have been 4 titles if he went to Duke.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think a lot of the time when I hear that whole, he's not black enough or – he's not one of the guys. Like, who cares? Like, if the guy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, he led you guys. He was part of a big reason why you guys won a Super Bowl last year. Get over it. He doesn't have to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, I don't get it. He's such a great player, a great guy, and but it's hard to believe that with Pete Carroll at the helm, all right, who's a real together kind of guy, and who just did wonders with all his problems at USC. You know that Pete Carroll got involved with trying to calm down the gangs in LA. He would go visit the gangs. I don't even know what it means, or what the gangs or what the names are. But this guy spent so much time in the community. And now here's a guy who's a real together guy, and obviously he's built a camaraderie there. But, wow, Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, I don't know how we're talking about them, but what about that play on the punt? Was that unbelievable?
I didn't understand how they got so faked out.
I'm going to tell you how they got faked out. The Bears did it 4 years ago. It worked, but they got called for holding.
Mm-hmm.
So what the theory behind the fake out, Wayne, is that the ball is punted and the return team went in the wrong direction.
On purpose.
On purpose. And so the guys who are peeling back, all right,
covering the kick,
all right, they're following the return team.
Mm-hmm.
And they all ran over to Tavon Austin when the ball was kicked.
To Stedman Bailey.
Right. And what happens?
Touchdown.
Touchdown.
Boy,
Stedman
that
Bailey.
was so cool. I usually don't spend time rooting for the Rams against the Seahawks. But I will tell you, I was rooting for the Rams against the Seahawks. And the takeaway from that game, and I'm not sure who said it, but between you guys, somebody knows, probably said that Austin Davis looks like he's going to be the next great quarterback, the next Brett Favre type quarterback.
Wow.
Well, Brett Favre said it himself. He's the one that tweeted it.
What college you go to?
I'm not sure. The Saints
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss.
Austin Davis with the Southern Miss? Well, there you go.
That's right.
Yeah, well, all I can tell you is this. Don't be misled by that game. St. Louis is not that good. It required every trick play in the world. A fake punt from their own 20-yard line? Come on.
Yeah, but look at Seattle.
Seattle went up and down the field. They gained 500 yards.
And Russell
Wilson was incredible.
And they still managed to lose.
Right.
And
Well,
that's their storyline. Is this guy one of the greatest games ever? Is he the first? Mason knows these stats better than I do. First quarterback to throw for more than 300 and run for 100 in the NFL?
Yeah.
In that game.
Yep. And they lost.
That's not a good
Unbelievable.
sign.
I love Russell
Okay,
Wilson.
so let me go back a little longer back in history. When you heard they traded Percy Harvin, were you as shocked as I was?
Yeah, I was, except for when I heard he beat up Golden Tate the night before the Super Bowl. And then he got in the shouting match with Russell Wilson that was just unbelievable. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, Bruce, you should have been surprised if you really go back. He had
trouble,
like this
yeah.
in Minnesota.
He had trouble in
Minnesota got rid
Minnesota.
of him. It was a reason why Minnesota let him go and then did not want to pay him that money that the Seahawks gave him.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Let's see how he deals with Geno Smith. Because Geno Smith is a demonstrative kind of guy, and although Geno Smith is the kind of guy who might love him and throw him the ball every play.
A lot of these Florida guys, I'm not throwing anything against Florida, but man, a lot of these Florida guys that Urban Meyer managed to coach to a near national championship or a natty didn't turn out to be the greatest guys you ever seen.
It's all from that 08 team. All from the 08 team. Aaron Hernandez, Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, Takeo Spikes, all those guys. All those guys are from the 08 team.
All right, we're out of time. Let's get back to Maryland, Wisconsin. Wayne, prediction.
Maryland finds a way to stop that running game.
Oh, Wayne.
They're going to, what? I can't pick against my guys today.
Okay.
I'm going to give Maryland, I'll go, Maryland gets 31-28.
27-24 Wisconsin. I think Maryland's going to be in it to a lot better than most people think. Melvin Gordon is going to be tough to stop. I think here's the key. Hold Melvin Gordon below 175 yards and you have a chance, in my opinion. All right, if you can do that, you have a chance. That is a tall task. We're out of time. You want to hear some more, go over to the Sports Maven. We got Steve Miletsky on, talk some more baseball. And Wayne, I'm glad you got it up. It came in today, man. I know you're sick, so stay away from me. All right, everybody.
Happily.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.